Oh boy. I forgot my Xbox One controller somewhere. So we're gonna play a fun game called Can Keith Figure Out How to Play This with Keyboard and Mouse? The answer is going to be no. Oh crap, I can't even figure out how to open up, like, the escape menu. Escape doesn't open the menu? Are you serious? How do you do that? Enter, tab, control. What was that? That was map, I think. Oh my goodness, the fun experience of pressing every button on a keyboard to see what they do. G opens the map. Why would G open the map? That's weird. That's really weird. Ah. Q. Why would Q... You know, WASD and Q. You know, like the thing you might use like in a special like button thing. Interesting. This is gonna be a trip. So for the record, Q is this button, and E is this button. Well, that's weird. I need to go get my controller. I need to find it. Or, it's like an hour away. That blows.
Are you alright, Laphicet?
Yeah, I am. But I'm worried about Velvet.
This may be more than he can bear. Not that I blame him. Laphicet, perhaps you should rest within me for a while.
No.
But if you don't, then...
I know. But if I hide, it'll only hurt Velvet even more. I should at least be at her side.
You really have become stronger.
But I haven't. I hate it. But there's nothing I can do to help Velvet now.
Of course there is. Having someone nearby can be all the help you need sometimes. Like when I lost my mother.
Eleanor...
So, let's keep an eye on Velvet while we search for the others, alright? Just remember that I'm always with you, Laphicet.
I know. Thank you.
Gonna give this a shot real quick. Let's go. Options. Sensitivity? No? No? Oh. Map, camera, rotation speed. Turn that way the heck down, maybe? Okay, that's sane now. It was rotating so fast. Okay, I can probably turn that back up when I get my controller back. Oh. Failure. Yeah, these controls are a trip. They're so weird and all over the place. You press enter to continue, which means they give you a command for continuing that involves moving your hand across the entire keyboard to enter, or taking your hand off of the mouse, as opposed to, you know, like relatively straightforward commands that your two things would use. Thankfully, Geoboard is mapped to spacebar, which is supernatural, so they got that part right. There's actually enemies here now. Last time it was just a bunch of empty rooms. I actually felt weird at some point how much they expect me to walk around in totally empty zones and do nothing, basically. Howdy. Enemies behind me. Those are familiar. I think I fought that exact type of enemy before in Zestiria, which is safe to think because I think generally they like to repeat enemies between games. Who knows how long they've used some of them, but in this case it's also technically the same world. But there's a time where it probably makes sense, it's now. That's weird. That's weird. That's really weird that they use enter. Actually got life bottles from the environment for once, though. If I hadn't been full up already. So it's weirdly mapped enter because, yeah, like, WASD is move, but Q and E open menus? Which is weird. But then, like, interacting with stuff is enter. So you have to take your hand off either the left side of the keyboard or your mouse to reach over and hit enter for all interactions. You can probably remap them, but it's just interesting to me that, Japanese developers are probably just not used to, like, oh, yeah, our JRPG will be played on a keyboard and mouse. What are intuitive keyboard and mouse inputs? It reminds me of when I played System Shock 2 recently, and it was from before a lot of concepts were invented or standardized for how shooters should handle, so it had the weirdest default maps for its controls that made, like, I dare you, people at home that have never played System Shock 2 before, if you're looking forward to trying to play that game sometime, because it is neat. Yeah. give it a good old try playing with its default controls. You'll have some surprises. Not saying it's impossible to adapt to. I mean, somebody played it that way originally, presumably. But man, you suddenly realize how much you've been trained to think certain things are the default input types. Especially on keyboard and mouse, where you're kind of flying blind on a giant grid of buttons if they don't go to some kind of conventions.
That boy who called himself Inominat. Could he really be Velvet's younger brother?
It could have been an illusion intended to torment her. Don't you agree, Eleanor?
I do. Velvet's objective is avenging her brother, after all. We've all seen how strongly she feels about it. I find it hard to believe that the one so dear to her is still alive.
I don't know what powers Inominat possesses, but I think that really was her little brother. Velvet was able to see past Melchior's illusions. But look at her now. I just don't want to believe that the real Laufey could do such a thing.
Could it be possible that Inominat was reborn into her brother's body?
I don't know. But if that was the case, I'm not sure Velvet would be in so much agony.
Yes, I guess. Inominat actually being Velvet's brother. It makes a twisted sort of sense. But it's too awful.
Yeah, it's bad news. The number one thing she's driven to fight for, the revenge for her brother, and then her brother turns out to be more or less the villain, or like not originally the villain, because I mean, presumably it's just not really her brother. It might be like the equivalent of like when a Malakim is reborn but doesn't have their memories. Anyway, on a control standpoint, though, my saving grace, of course, is going to be that as a Japanese game, it loves to put on-screen prompts for what a lot of buttons do, but as we're going along. So some of the weird things, like pressing T to be able to view the next story bit, is nice and helpful because it just tells me on the screen. I'll definitely have to pause at the beginning of our next fight just to find out what the new what some of the new buttons are. What's the new YXAB? Leave me alone. There's a chest on the other side. Oh, on every cardinal direction, basically. Or, well, all the other ones. The ones that aren't exits, I suppose. I'm glad they haven't overused the whole Earth Pulse thing, by the way. Oh, they're all things I already have. I was worried the first time an Earth Pulse came up because it was like sort of just this big empty area. There was no enemies in it, and there wasn't anything to do in it. And you had to go through like 12 screens of running. I was worried that was going to be happening every time we go to a place, because they're like, immediately the game was like, oh yeah, the story's going to be about visiting Earth Pulses now. I'm like, no! But then we never had to go into an Earth Pulse when we were visiting them until now. So they saved for very major story moments, like major enough that you're literally meeting with Artorias and fighting him in some capacity, which is the right way to handle this. There's a lot of things this game does right, and among them is not the Reaper's Curse. Just gonna keep poking that beehive. Some people don't like it when I talk about that one. But the story is so much more interesting than Zestiria was.
Is this?
Look!
Hey! Stay with me! I'll get someone right away!
It's okay. I'm tired.
Have you been journeying long, then?
10 years. My master entrusted everything to me, but I couldn't do anything.
10 years?
My wings are weak. It doesn't matter anymore.
I see. If you've been working that hard, you surely need a break. I just happened to get my hands on some prickle boar meat. I'll be cooking up a stew for dinner. But would you care to join me?
Huh? No way.
All I have on me now is this apple. Here. Once your belly is full of warm food, you'll be able to pick yourself back up. I can feel it. Your body is shouting, I want to live.
I'm a disgrace. I don't deserve to live.
Is life something you have to earn? To deserve?
Well,
These feelings are natural. You eat when you're hungry and cry when you're sad. Feeling these things is proof that we're alive.
alive.
What's your name? Mine is Celica. Celica Crow.
I'm an exorcist. Tori... No, Arthur. I'm Arthur.
Arthurius!
What in the world was that?
Rokuro! Aizen!
You saw it too then?
Sure did. Arturius. And he called himself Arthur.
I've heard of this. The Earthen Historia. They say that events on the world's surface cast imprints on the earth pulse that runs below.
In other words, an illusion of the past.
It's not an illusion. That was my sister. So, you managed to fool her too, is it? Yes. Yes, that must be it. That's why she freed me from the prison. Rokuro, have you recovered from your wounds?
Yep. Tough as nails, that's old Rokuro. I'm more worried about Velvet. She okay?
How could she be okay? Inominat is reborn, and it's her little brother.
A blade can't just be hard. It's gotta be flexible, or it'll snap the first time it meets an unexpected force. I misunderstood the true meaning of strength, and so did he.
Let's just worry about ourselves for now. This earth pulse is completely under Inominat's domain. We can think of it as an extension of his body.
Yeah, which means my power won't get us out of here.
Be wary. Inominat may be the one showing us these memories. Remember, he's after Velvet.
And the two types of malevolence inside her.
True. And we may be able to use that against him to get us out of here.
What are you saying? Just use her?
If it's necessary.
We have to keep moving. Nothing will be gained by staying here. And we ought to look for Magilu. Even she doesn't deserve to be stuck here forever.
There we go, we got most of the crew back together, except for Magilu, of course. Who's in a bad place right now. Captured by Melchior? That was close. Wow. Startling. So I didn't really pick up on this when we first started. Partly because we never really spent time with them as a character, the sister, but also because the Malakim that she is reborn as is masked, which wasn't very helpful. But part of the reason why Velvet was so torn all of a sudden, she's all like broody and badass, like, I don't care about anything. But then she that one Malakim is like, consume me, and she's all like, I'm suddenly torn, and it's because that Malakim was the reincarnation of her sister, which really ruined her. Unless I'm mixing something up, but I think that's exactly what was happening, at least. Because they even just talked about it here, the idea that she freed her from the prison. Sorry, probably already noticing that the mouse movement looks weird compared to controller until now. I kind of prefer playing stuff with the controller when I'm LPing, just because of...
So, what is this Earthen Historia you mentioned?
As I've said, an earth pulse is a natural force that circulates within the land. Wind blows, water flows, birds fly, flowers bloom. All actions in nature leave their mark on the earth pulse. These marks become etched within the land itself, and remain a part of the earth pulse, like memories.
So it's a record of the world's past.
Does it remember human and Moloch deeds?
Everything that occurs is part of nature, including the acts of humans, Malachim, and even demons.
So that means that even this very conversation is being recorded in the Earthen Historia?
Anything bad I've done in secret, any insults you've ever told behind someone's back, the land sees it all.
My insults?
It's just an example. Pay it no mind.
Does that mean that Inominat is drawing specific memories from the Earthen Historia and showing them to Velvet?
I believe so. That's how Rokuro and I saw the same thing, even though we weren't there. With the Earth itself as his vessel. It's a trick only Inominat could pull off.
Awfully devious for a self-styled Empyrean.
But the attack did strike home. Keep a close watch on her until we're out of the Earth Pulse.
Right.
Just to finish the thought, I often prefer to use, despite the fact that keyboard mouse has its perks and its precision, especially the mouse part, I often prefer using controller because it means the camera doesn't look like this. Actually, that's a bad example. Well, there's definitely some fast moving like this. I actually can't wobble the camera that fast because there's actually like a lot of mouse smoothing going on. They kind of filter your input a little bit, which leads to a lot of like fast acceleration followed by sort of a slow deceleration. Weird. Alright. Earthen Historia, that's a big deal. That hasn't come up in... It's hard to remember the two games independently sometimes. That hasn't come up in this game yet, has it? But I think throughout all of Zestiria, we were constantly referring to the Earthen Historia for a number of reasons, so we're setting that up now. The idea that the Earth itself records its own history.
Velvet's psyche took a heavy blow there.
Yes. She's in rough shape.
How long do you think she'll last?
What do you mean?
Just what I said. Remember, hardness alone won't save you from breaking. If she keeps being shaken up like this, she won't be able to handle it.
But what can we do?
If she breaks, she breaks. Until then, we go on with our mission.
What? Can't we help her?
If you let sympathy fog your vision, you can end up crashed on a reef.
Even so, we can't just let her suffer. It's too much.
I'm fairly sure that Velvet would say the same thing if she was in Aizen's place.
And do you agree, Rokuro?
Me? I still have a debt to Velvet. I will pay it. But in the end, her fate will be something she'll have to decide for herself.
That's true, but...
Then I have a decision of my own to make. I won't give up on Velvet, no matter what.
I see. Do what you have to.
We won't stop you.
Velvet might... Don't know what length she's gonna go to if she loses her minds. We've already had little hints of the idea that she might become aggressive towards Laphicet, despite the fact that she's they remind her so much of her own sibling that she's willing to name him that, Laphicet. Although now she's got to get over the idea of attacking Laphicet, the real one, in order to even continue, which really messes with things. So if her inhibitions with the original Laphicet are being dropped and she's getting ready to attack that, how safe is our own going to be? Holy crap, this map keeps going. Okay. On we go. I can go left or blah blah blah. Alright, it's time to finally learn how to fight things. Oh, that's some interesting stuff. Okay. So guard is spacebar, which is also how I dodge and stuff like that. WASD is moving the arrow keys of my four arts, which is pretty easy to remember. That's easy to keep straightforward. C, apparently, is the mystic art. That's arbitrary, but I'll try to keep it in mind. And then tab is how you change targets. Let's see how well this goes, huh? Okay, so first of all, holding tab, so we can figure out the weaknesses and get in there. Alright. Off to a decent enough start. They're definitely not durable, are they? Definitely get used to not rotating the camera unless I have to, though, because the camera is rotated by moving the mouse.
A complete victory!
You can also left-click, right-click, and then shift left-click and shift right-click for your arts, but that's way harder to remember than up the four arrow keys, so I'm gonna go with those ones. Unfortunately, the arrow keys can't be used to rotate the camera, because if you could, I could just stop using the keyboard. I mean, I could stop using the mouse altogether. Oopsie. There I go, trying to hit E because it just seems intuitive compared to enter of all places. So you're a dead end? Alright, so back the way we came. Really wish I had my Earth Pulse. That's a bummer. I mean, my Geo board. That'd be great. Although it'd be slightly terrifying to try to control in this situation, but that's fine. Alright. All things considered, I could probably play this entire game with keyboard and mouse without much hassle. Now that I've got some of the basic controls figured out. And especially if I can remap some of the weirder controls to make them make a little bit more sense.
Let's get started.
Hi there. Alright. Let's try this. Definitely curious to see if you could maybe remap camera controls to something else. There we go. Probably not the best thing to use against something that's already almost dying, but I think I can get away with using it up here and there. Oh, that's the missing thing I forgot to consider. What? Where's my mouse? Forgot about my break soul. That's a big deal. It's R. Kind of a big deal. You know that thing I constantly use? Oopsie. Hey there. You wanna get up? I'm trying to fight you, damn it. There we go. There we go. I got you figured out. Yeah, really, the controls for combat aren't bad.
Sorry to cut you down.
The only awkward part is that you can only rotate the camera with the freaking mouse. Which I guess the way to make that work would be just to get used to the idea of doing left click, right click, and shift right click for attacks. Because then I'd have my hand on the mouse at all times. Because admittedly I'm using the arrow keys because they're in 4 directions, which is a direct translation of what I'm used to the buttons being for Y, X, A, B.
Welcome home, Arthur.
Hi, Celica. I fixed the fence around the house.
Oh, thank you, sweetheart. With the brigands stepping up their attacks, the town elders have been worried, but this should put their minds at ease.
No. If the brigands turn into demons, a mere fence won't stop them.
Huh?
Nothing. Don't worry about it. I'm pretty confident in my carpentry. And the other two?
Probably at the Cape again. I've warned them 100 times that it's dangerous.
Luffy said probably badgered Velvet into going. Don't worry, she'll watch out for him.
Yeah, I can only hope that this little one grows up to be as strong as she is one day.
Huh?
You're happy, I hope.
Of course I am. I never thought I could ever be this happy. I only wish I'd known earlier. I would have made something even nicer for you.
You made this for me?
Yeah, I put all my heart into it.
I'll cherish it always. It'll remind me of this happy day.
Let this serve as proof of our love. This I swear. I swear to protect you both with my life.
That's Lord Artorias' past.
That's rich! You mean you believe that tripe?
It's all a pack of lies. His smile, his promise, everything.
What we just saw, was that from before the opening?
Yeah. Celica was there, and Artorius still had use of his arm. It didn't look like he was an exorcist either.
I never would have thought Lord Artorius could smile so tenderly.
But he's since become an exorcist, taking on the mantle of shepherd and the weight of the world.
All because he lost his beloved wife.
I'd understand if you wanted to back out, but at this rate, I think the time is coming. Not much longer now.
It's coming.
To think I ate up his lies without questioning a word. What a joke.
It's so hard to accept him smiling because of the fact that he's like... He almost always has the same expression on his face all the time. So it's like hard to accept that he's smiling because he looks almost the same way when he's being... well, him. That's the right way to go? Yep. Looks like it. Wow. We're just going and going. Okay. In fact, yeah, the fact that his face usually looks like that made me think that he was, like, pretending to be happy and pretending to laugh behind her back while faking the voice to make it fit while his expression stayed cold. Because his cold expression looks a lot like his happy expression, honestly. So that's fully blocked by that crystal. I don't think we're getting past that. Leave me alone, slow armor. Bye. I'm sure we're getting close by now. How much longer could they make this part last?
Velvet didn't know those things about Artorius and Celica, did she?
Probably not. That was when the two were alone and first getting to know each other.
We were seeing glimpses of a warm, loving family. But really, it just gave me the creeps.
Same here. I could keenly feel Inominat scheming behind everything we saw.
He's trying to get at Velvet.
I think she used to truly love Lord Artorius. Having that happy past thrust in front of her at a time like this must be tearing her apart.
Probably. But a demon like me wouldn't understand.
What Velvet is going through is horrible. Even as a human, I can scarcely imagine what it must be like. But I approach it, just a little bit, because like her, I was his pupil.
Artorius said he needed 2 types of malevolence to awaken Inominat. The illusions at a ball, making sure we knew about the attack on Titania, and Inominat appearing as her brother. If all of that was planned to extract the malevolence from her, we'd all better brace for worse to come.
Yep, one way or another, Melchior is planning. He also has Magilu now, so he seems to actively have control over what's going on around here, and we're probably gonna have to face him in here, right? We probably have to fight Melchior to get out of here, because trapping us in here was probably his entire goal from the get-go.
The Scarlet Knight? This is Velvet's village.
Damn! So many of them! Celica, I'm coming!
It's too late! Take Velvet and Laphicet and run!
I can't do that! I want to have my life with you, with our child!
Arthur!
Celica! couldn't I? Why couldn't I protect my own family?
Remember this moment well, Artorias. Humans are weak, filled with sin.
Melchior!
The people of this village offered you and your beloved family up to the demon brigands. A sacrifice, so that they could escape and hide.
No, they wouldn't.
It happens often. The reason people act on is burdened by the weight of their sins. However, I have found a method to adjust their reason.
A domain? What is this incredible power? Don't tell me the Empyrean we've been searching for was here this whole time. These Malachim.
So they have been reborn, but be not deceived. They are not the same people you knew.
Why? Why must fate be so cruel?
It appears that Inominat's resurrection is incomplete. We must guide him until we understand why. I'll be taking these Malachim.
Wait! I'm sorry I couldn't keep my promise. I'll make things right. I'll abandon who I am. Nameless Moloch, I will forge a pact with you. I will put an end to all the pain in this world.
Do you have it in you? You who abandoned my friend's ideals and fled.
On the souls of my dead master, wife, and child. This I swear. My name is Artorias Colbrand. I have inherited the will and the strength of Claudin Asgard, former head of the Exorcists.
Very well. Let tonight's tragedy change fate and birth salvation.
That Moloch, it was me. You don't remember?
Not at all.
They said you were reborn as a Moloch. That means... what exactly?
The soul of a human who passed away can, given the right trigger, be reborn as a Moloch.
You're saying that Artorias' child was reborn as Laphicet?
If what we saw was real, yes.
So the female Moloch that was born along with him was...
My sister's reincarnation, but I ate her long ago.
You didn't know, right?
I knew. I had already caught on to who Ceres really was.
Velvet.
But it doesn't matter. What does it change? I'll devour anything to fulfill my goal. My sister, my brother, even the world. That's who I am. That's all I am.
Well, that's really major. Oops, that's the wrong one. Hopefully I'll find out a different control scheme by next time, although this is largely working out. There we go.
Scout ship setting sail.
So, now we know that Artorias lost his wife during that first blood moon. It seemed like at the time like it was a sacrifice or something bad that he did on purpose, but it looks like it was a horrible accident, and it triggered his personality changing, where he will do absolutely anything to fulfill his goal of removing demons, basically, just like how Velvet is so blindly following her goal. And the callousness with which they both pursue their goals is really becoming the primary problem of the entire game. Simultaneously, we also find out what we already knew, which is that the molecule we devoured at the beginning of the game was Velvet's sister, but also we've learned that it would appear that Laphicet is Velvet's sister's, I believe, unborn baby? She wasn't holding a baby, was she? I didn't notice. I thought she was just pregnant, so it looks like the fetus may have been reborn as Laphicet. That's, yeah. That makes this a really fucked up, weird, confusing scenario, particularly that involves Laphicet fighting against his own father, potentially. Alright. A lot of people just settle for daddy issues in their story, but we have every conceivable possible familial relationship issues this time. Boy.